And now it's time for RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
Hey everybody, Ken in studio with Jack and Sasha.
Hello.
Coming at you for another hour of RoadWorthy Drive behind the scenes. This week and this hour on RoadWorthy Drive, we're launching a new segment called From the Parts Bin. I get so much material over the week that's breaking and happening. I wanted a better way of sharing more with you and getting Jack and Sasha's feedback. So we're going to do things a little bit different in the first segment. The show for the hour. I promised last week we were going to talk about some of the new vehicles that were introduced in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Detroit. This hour we're going to talk about the domestics and what they brought to the market. Our second segment will be cars and crossovers. Third segment will be trucks and SUVs. And then finally, we'll finish up with trucks and something I call American exotics. I think you get a real kick out of it. So buckle in, get comfy, be sure to wear that lap and shoulder belt for another hour of RoadWorthy Drive behind the scenes. And we're so glad you could be with us. Thanks. Jack, 11 minutes.
11 minutes, sir.
Ready, sir.
Here we go.
Do you want to go faster? Yeah!
It's time now for RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester, America's premier automotive news and information talk show. Now, here he is, that automotive journalist with the photographic memory, Ken Chester.
Welcome to another information-packed hour of RoadWorthy Drive. I'm your host, Ken Chester. In studio with the usual suspects, my friend and executive producer, Jack DeLeon, and our effervescent social media diva, Sasha Little.
Here.
As promised, I plan to share with you some of the best of vehicles recently introduced at the major auto shows by the domestic manufacturers across our fruited plain during the last few months. And again, like I promised, I will get to that in a few minutes, but first, if you're a first-time listener, it's easy to join the conversation. Text or call the RoadWorthy Drive line at 872-222-9793, and that's anytime. If you'd rather email, and we allow email, email's a good thing, my address is ken@roadworthydrive.com. Feel free to share your comments, ideas, or suggestions. I would love to hear from you. Now, it occurred to me during the past week while waiting through my inbox that there's too much information that I'm not sharing with you, my listener. More often than not, it's a tidbit of information that's worthy of sharing, but not always enough for discussion. So starting with this hour, I'm making a change. I'm introducing what I call From the Parts Bin. This is a new segment. It's going to replace breaking news, and it's a segment within a segment that will allow us to share more with you than we have been, along with the flexibility to discuss if the subject warrants. So here we go. From the Parts Bin. I'm going to start with this. Trump fuel economy target set for March release. That's according to the NHTSA acting chief, and that's a piece in Automotive News. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration will propose new fuel economy standards for cars and light trucks by the end of March. Now, this is for the period 2022 through 2025. And the reason why that's important is back in 2011, 90% of the automakers selling vehicles in the United States agreed with the EPA and NHTSA to a trio of coordinated rules that was oversigned by EPA, NHTSA, and the California Air Resources Board that get more stringent every year, ending at a fleet average of more than 50 miles to the gallon by 2025, and I believe the number was 54.5 in actuality.
I think that's what we've talked about.
Uh-huh. Now, the challenge is that for the most part, the 2020 up till 2021 is pretty much set, although this piece in Automotive News says that the current CAFE standards for model 2021 may also change. The challenge with that is automakers they need a long lead time in order to do what they got to do. Suppliers and engines, transmissions, validations, development, materials, all of this takes time. And it's not like they can literally, if you'll pardon the pun, turn a dime.
Okay.
So we'll see about that.
Well, and my question is, are you getting the impression that they are going to make that standard lower than 54.5?
Absolutely. Why? Because the automakers for some time had been asking the administration to look at standards, and I was wondering how long before the pushback. Look at what gas prices are. They're artificial, well, they're low. And with the popularity of trucks and SUVs and crossovers, it would be in the automakers' best interest to let the good times roll and not have to invest all that money to meet the more stringent standards. Although, even at 2021, even if they change the standards in 2021, you still have more stringent standards between now and then than you do today.
What are the requirements for 2021?
That I do not know. But obviously, if they're getting more stringent, they should be in the 30-mile, 35-mile-gallon range.
Now, when you're talking 30 to 35, are we talking city mile, highway mile, combined?
That would probably be a fleet combination.
Okay.
So here's something else for you reported. Now, we talked about this here before, that General Motors, and we talked about it last week, had made a safety petition before the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to allow an autonomous car on the nation's highways and byways. That's no manual controls at all, no steering wheel, no shift lever, no brakes, no gas pedal, nothing.
Okay.
Now, according to the Transportation Secretary, Elaine Chao, she said, and I quote, "This request is now a reality. The technology is there. The question is, how do we regulate it? How do we continue to promote innovation, but also safeguard safety?"
Okay, now we're back. Now we're to the point where we've talked about before where the quagmire really is, and that is technology is way ahead of legislation.
Which has always been.
Okay, but again, they're going to have to set the rules first before they allow it, correct?
To some degree. Here's the challenge. The challenge is that NHTSA and the Department of Transportation can only go so far. We talked about NHTSA's document back in September of 2016, where they outlined where their limits of authority were at, and some of that was going to require Congress to actually give them more authority in certain areas, and they outlined it in detail.
You mean the Congress is finally going to have to, I don't know, do their job?
I'm not touching that.
Oh, come on.
No, not gonna. Nope, 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 not gonna.
Sasha, do you want to touch that one?
I don't want a piece of that.
I am just not. I'm not going to.
I will say this. Related articles, NHTSA anticipates revised safety standards for cars without steering wheels. They are actually asking for public comment. And let me read this. The NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, has requested the public to assist in identifying any regulatory barriers with the federal motor vehicle safety standards and the testing and certification of motor vehicles with automated driving systems, or, their words, unconventional interior designs. That means no manual controls. That's government for no manual controls. They are looking for public comment to rulemaking. The comments are due by March 5th. By the same token, the Federal Highway Administration is also seeking comments for adapting roadway infrastructure for automated vehicles. And we've talked about vehicle to infrastructure, or V to I, or in the case V to X, which is vehicle to anything.
Yep.
They are also, their words, they want input from the public to help identify roadway infrastructure which will need to be modified or enhanced to eliminate barriers to motor vehicles with automated driving systems. Examples include greater uniformity in lane marking, signage, and other traffic control devices. Conversely, installation of digital infrastructure and data may better enable ADS vehicles to exchange information with roadside infrastructure. They're looking for comments from the public March 5th.
Well, but again, right now, as I understand it, you're going to be able to have an automated car drive itself without talking to anything else.
No.
Okay, explain, please.
Right now, what they first need to encompass is resolving some of the legalities of having a fully autonomous vehicle not in test mode on our nation's highways and byways. We've talked here first that the U.S. Department of Transportation, it's been upheld by the Supreme Court, and by proxy, their agency, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, has jurisdiction over all 50 states in creating policy.
Okay.
We also covered here on this show, back again in 2016, NHTSA's limitations in what they could do under law under their charter right now. It requires some interactivity from Congress to give them added capabilities to fulfill their assignment.
Okay.
So it's going to take some time. We do need the regulation. We need safety regulation. We need administrative regulation. And I'm hoping that we have a robust conversation about it.
Well, we need to have that conversation. But also, as I said before a couple minutes ago, Congress is going to have to start doing their job here, because if they don't, this is just going to, if I'm assuming what I'm hearing correctly, it's going to delay the entire process.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now, like emission controls back 50 years ago, the automakers don't want to and can't deal with a patchwork of state regulations, which are this, that, the other. It would be prohibitive cost-wise,
Yes,
and it could be a safety issue.
Oh, yeah, bingo.
So the two things we need to worry about is safety, implementation, and then the third thing I said two, but it's actually three, is cybersecurity, which is very important.
Yeah, and to let the folks at home know, Ken was on one of our affiliates this past week where they asked the question, would you get into a car that was self-driving?
Mm-hmm.
And how'd that conversation end up, Ken?
Not well. Most people said no, and they were very emphatic about it.
Yeah.
Later in the show, I've got my own concerns. Looking at the concept vehicles and other things, I think I had a Jack moment.
Really?
I had a Jack moment.
No,
We will
you
talk
can't
about
switch
that.
sides now.
I had a Jack moment. I got thoroughly.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
I had a Jack moment. So, yeah, you're going to want to stay
print
tuned
the
for
T-shirts.
that. Yeah. you're gonna want to stay tuned for that. Next up, domestics introduced at the car show so far. You are riding with Ken and RoadWorthy Drive.
You're tuned to RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
Hang on, guys. I got to fix something.
With Ken and RoadWorthy Drive.
You're listening to RoadWorthy Drive. Do you have a...
Before we get into the new models,
Mm-hmm.
do you have a particular favorite?
Okay, guys, hold on for just 1 second, will you?
Want more than your share of the road? Be sure to check out RoadWorthy Drive on Facebook.
Not a problem. See, that went a little easier, a little more conversational. And we covered a little ground, but it gave us flexibility.
Before we get into it,
Uh-huh.
do you have a particular favorite as to what was really revealed so far?
Not really.
No?
Mm-mm.
Anything really shock you?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But that actually might be in the next hour.
Really?
Yeah, when we get down to the foreign concepts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got completely weirded out. That's when I had my Jack moment.
I am super excited. Some of these images and the concepts that were out there. No, you're not allowed to switch sides now.
It's too late.
No, it's not.
It's too late.
You could still come over here. We have Oreo cookies.
He's had a conversion.
Oh, is that what we're calling it
That's
now?
what we're going to call it.
Okay, then. Okay,
Oh,
then.
you too.
Well, okay, so you've got
Let's just say that it's entertaining around here.
We can say that. You've got the Studebaker.
Yeah, I do.
Because that's the one I want next. Hold
Okay.
on, let me get my time set here.
Yeah, I'm just saving it right now. Okay, so that's done.
I love this commercial.
You what?
I love this commercial.
And you know what? I actually got it set up so that way our viewers can actually see these commercials.
Good.
I'm scheduling them up so that way they'll be pulled up on Monday.
Oh, by the way, when we get all done,
Mhm.
I need you. I'm going to call in a favor for you
Everyone
this time.
needs me.
No, I'm
Favors.
I'm going to call in. You asked me to do a favor for you on Friday,
Uh-huh.
which I did, and you're going to do one for me today.
Really? You want that turnaround that quick?
Yeah.
Quid
There's a
pro quo,
there's
sister.
a
I was hoping that
reason-
he'd forget about it.
Quid pro quo.
there is a good reason for it, and I got something I got to solve. So,
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds scary, by the way.
No, I mean I solve problems every day.
Well, I'm glad somebody's solving problems.
I don't know how successful I am, but I'm trying. Are you ready, people?
Not yet. Hold on.
Ken's having technical issues over there.
I am. Okay, I'm ready.
You know what I'm thinking about buying him?
An alarm
Is a
clock?
dang stopwatch.
Stop.
Anytime
see
you're ready,
it.
boss.
Okay, here we go.
Get yourself a lark, plenty of flash, lots of style and comfort, not much cash. Jazzy all around with loads of room in the back. Studebaker lark saves you the jack. What's got jazz, speed and spark? Zip, zoom, style, room 62 lark. Big car comfort, easy to park. You're gonna have a ball in the lark. The 62 lark.
I love that commercial.
I love that
Yeah.
jingle.
This is the second segment of Roadworthy Drive. I'm Ken Chester. Thanks for dropping by. For those of you all that may not have ever heard of Studebaker, it was an American car company considered one of the small five. There was the big three and small five. Studebaker went the way of the dodo bird in 1964. South Bend's finest. Oh, well.
Which was kind of sad because they were kind of looking like a little futuristic car.
Yeah.
They were.
I would love to get my hands on a lark.
Now, I want to have you settle an argument between my dad and I.
Okay.
He said to me that the Ford Edsel was 30 years ahead of his time in design.
Design is subjective.
Okay.
What killed the Edsel is the factory didn't really dedicate the
What
way
they
they
should
needed
have.
to.
Yeah.
So quality was the problem.
Aha.
Car died because the quality was sporadic. They were wedging those in the factory between Mercuries and Fords, and they weren't really dedicating the way they needed to be. Because that thing had quite a range. They had 2 doors and 4 doors and wagons. And I want to say they had 9 trim levels.
Wow.
Yeah. they
I
did.
mean,
Really?
Yeah. You could even own an Edsel Ranger.
What?
Yes. It was a trim level.
What?
It was a trim level.
Okay.
the things you find out,
Indeed.
because not too far from where the studio sits, Ford used to have a plant
A Model T plant.
that is now basically owned by the Des Moines Public Schools.
Yes, it is. And that building now, actually last year, celebrated its 100th anniversary.
Yes, it did.
I have pictures of me sitting in the back of a Model T.
Oh, my.
My uncle had one.
I'm not even going to go
Wow.
there. Well, folks, as you can tell, you're tuned to Roadworthy Drive, and we're talking cars. What we're talking about particularly in this segment is about the vehicles that have been recently introduced to the nation's major car shows over the last few months. That would be vehicles introduced in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Detroit. During this hour, we're focused on the vehicles introduced by the traditional domestic automakers. And in case you're still wondering if you're still keeping score, that is Ford Motor Company, General Motors, and yeah, we're still counting Fiat Chrysler as a domestic, but we're counting them, at least the Chrysler part. During our next program, we will turn the spotlight onto foreign automakers, and I have to say, it's remarkable to see the bets they made on what to produce that they think would sell. Here's my question.
Okay.
Are cars really dead, or are they just playing possum?
Honestly, I don't know. Because right now, you look at what's trending, and it's all crossovers, SUVs, and pickups.
Yeah.
But then again, gas is also at
relatively cheap.
Relatively cheap.
Well, let's talk about a couple of vehicles that we've actually talked about here before at Roadworthy Drive that was actually introduced in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I'm going to bring them back up. The Corvette ZR1. Now, we talked about the convertible, but did you really also know they were introducing the coupe?
I did not.
No, that
And
I didn't
it had
know.
been a number of years since they'd last been out. Let me put it to you this way. The ZR1, the Corvette ZR1, starts with a 6.2 liter V8 supercharged V8.
Okay,
The
question.
thing, I'm going to get this out. This thing makes some ungodly torque and horsepower. In fact, let's see. What did they say? Oh, yeah. 755 horsepower, 715 foot-pounds of torque. And in fact, this thing is so fast, you have a couple of packages, what they call a low-wing package for downforce in the back or a high-wing package. The high-wing package provides an estimated 950 pounds of downforce to keep the car down connected to the earth.
Again, we're asking Jack's favorite question. What
What could possibly go
wrong?
wrong? Yes.
But again, Ken, is this Chevy's
Halo car?
No, L1 engine?
It is their LT5
Okay.
engine. The top speed of this thing, you ready for it?
I am so ready.
Hold on.
Oh, I know where he's going. He just can't let it go, can you?
No, I can't. Go ahead.
He can't. Saved by the bell.
Go ahead.
210 miles an hour. Put a pin in that number because you're going to hear it again.
Are we?
Yeah. When I tell you about the electric, 2 electrics that beat that.
The 2 electric cars that were revealed this year.
That we'll talk about later will beat that.
Wow.
We'll beat that horsepower.
No, we'll beat that speed.
Wow.
I need one.
No, I don't think
Please?
so. No. The low wing, we talked about high wing, low wing.
Right.
The low wing delivers the highest top speed, and it's standard. And then we talked about the 2-way adjustable high wing, which offers maximum downforce for the quickest lap times. In fact, it gives you 60% more downforce than the Z06, which is the Corvette performance vehicle, with the available Z07 performance package. All models feature a Chevrolet First, a downforce enhancing front underwing. We're getting into wind management now.
We're getting into NASCAR now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And these will be out next spring, and if you've got over $120,000, you too can own one.
Jack?
Okay, you're talking about 2019.
Yes, sir.
Not spring in 40-some odd days.
2019.
Okay.
You can own one.
So, Jack, I'm going to put in my reservation now
No.
for that personal loan.
No.
For those of you that don't have that kind of money, Ford is also introducing an Edge ST. This is a performance model of the Edge. It provides superior handling, braking, ST-tuned sport suspension. If you're a Ford follower, may I say, and you would understand this, you remember the Focus ST that was made in Germany a couple of years back.
Yep, I remember.
Yeah, same performance kind of thing. So you got a sport suspension, sport mode, a new quick shifting 8-speed automatic, standard all-wheel drive, and a 2.7 liter dual turbo. They call it an EcoBoost, twin turbocharged EcoBoost engine. For the Edge, delivers 335 horsepower and 380 foot-pounds of torque. Edge ain't that big. That thing would be flying, just to give you an idea.
I'd be scared to take. I mean, it just looks like nothing on the road.
I'm going to word this. Ford's vice president of product development and purchasing said, and I quote, "The Edge ST puts a new animal on the road, a performance SUV with a track mentality." And they go on to say a new sport mode allows the Edge ST drivers to experience more aggressive throttle response and shifting patterns that hold gears near redline through cornering maneuvers, sharper engine braking, and a more resonant exhaust tone. Because, of course, if you don't sound good, how can you look good, right?
Well, you need the cherry bomb, the darn thing.
Well, there you go. You get new front and rear styling, a wide mesh grille for optimal cooling, deep side skirts, and, wait for it, dual exhaust outlets. That is the Edge ST.
It's funny to me, and I cannot be only one that thought that you went from.
Next up, the domestic automakers boast utility in their latest offerings. This is RoadWorthy Drive.
RoadWorthy Drive. Like us on Facebook.
Did we make it?
Sorry about that. Yes.
No.
No. It's fine. I don't have the timer in front of me.
And that is
not that too. But you're
what
not
you
wearing
find
headphones
out,
either.
folks. Time
You're
is
not wearing headphones
time
either.
is a frenemy in radio. You either got
It
too
is.
much of it or not enough of it. But it waits for nobody, and there's just no mercy.
I cannot be the only one that find it absolutely hilarious that you went from a Corvette
To an Edge.
to an Edge.
And would you believe, out of all of these automakers, nobody was introducing cars on the domestic side. That's it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Till we get to the next segment.
Now wait a minute. The Edge is an
SUV.
SUV. Okay, because where I was getting confused was I thought he was talking about the Ford Flex.
No.
Oh yeah, that like
The
boxy
boxy thing,
looking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The vehicle looking for a market.
No, and see the Edge to me, it looks to me like one of those jelly bean car things. Like it looks to me like like they took a sedan and then they just kind of squeezed it from both ends.
Smushed it.
Yeah, from both ends. I mean, it just doesn't. And honestly, and I'm not a Ford person.
What?
But But I actually like the Edge, or not the Edge. The
Explorer.
No, what you just said. The
Oh, the Flex.
The Flex. I actually like it.
Oh my God.
I've driven one. It's been years.
I couldn't handle
it's
that thing.
okay, but
Yeah.
It's a
not
vehicle in search of a market, kind of like the old Lincoln Aviator.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was. I mean, you went, why?
Yeah. I
'Cause
mean,
you had the Explorer, the Mountaineer, and the Aviator, and the Aviator didn't give you enough to differentiate. Now they could have.
Mhm.
I would have made a V8 standard in that thing.
Yep.
I would have went all-wheel drive standard in that thing.
Amen.
And you would have made money.
Oh
yeah, all day, every day.
All day,
But
every
I
day.
mean, it was one of those things where even price, looking at it for price wise, why would I get a Lincoln Aviator when I could spend? What was the difference between the
Not
Aviator
much.
to
And the Mercury.
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
much.
why
much at all.
would you?
If you went with the Mountaineer V8, you were just about there.
Yeah.
And less money.
Yeah.
And that is a problem Detroit has, because you develop vehicles and they're trying to hit price points.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you get this overlapping. Buick had that problem in the late 90s. It was literally $1,500 spread from the entry-level Skylark to the Sabre.
Yep.
Really?
And you're like, why buy a Skylark?
Yeah.
When I can negotiate down and maybe be $500 to $750 away from, more, and end up in a LeSabre, which had an awesome rep, still does.
And
I
still
see.
does. It still does.
Still
to this
does.
day.
Okay, people.
I love
9
the Park
minutes,
Avenue.
third segment. Are we ready?
Mhm.
This is where it gets
Are you
interesting.
talking the Park Avenue that was out in the early 90s?
I am actually, my grandmother was a committed Park Avenue buyer until her knees went out, and then she had to upgrade to a van, which she hated for the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they always got a Park Avenue every 2 years. And so pretty much from 1980, I forget when their first one was. But then she just switched over, and then she never went back until.
Well, okay. So here's the question for you before we go into third segment.
Uh-huh.
What is referred to as the Japanese Buick?
I have no idea.
Put a pin in that for next hour.
There's so many pins, though. You
I
didn't
don't
tell me
worry.
to get multicolors.
Well, you guess you
and
need
not
to.
only that too, but where is the map on the wall so we know what we're talking about?
I know. We're going to have like a CSI type thing.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Okay, you guys ready?
I'm ready.
9 minutes.
Here we go.
Thank you for tuning in. You're listening to the third segment of this hour of RoadWorthy Drive. I'm Ken Chester. If you haven't checked out our awesome new and exciting website yet, why not? We have recently redesigned the place top to bottom, and in the words of Sasha, it looks amazing.
But it looks amazing.
Thank you, Sasha. We have made it easier to navigate in order for you to find the stuff that you want quickly. From our behind-the-scenes videos to audios of past show, it's all here and more. It's also a great place to discover where we are in the world of social media. Sasha is also our social media diva, and she keeps things interesting and lively, sharing her favorite finds in the world of automotive tech between shows. See how she keeps the social in our social media. Now, for this segment, our attention turns to trucks.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Detroit has been struggling to keep up with the imagination and demand as America slakes its thirst for all things truck and SUV.
Mm-hmm.
Generous financing by the captive automotive finance companies, coupled with low gasoline prices, have allowed the good times to keep rolling.
Yes.
For now.
In 4x4 action.
For now. Now, we'll talk about this.
I don't like that sense of foreboding.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
should
don't
be.
either.
Awesome. Let me drop this on you because you knew this was bound to happen. 2 words you never thought you'd hear. Well, 3 words you never thought you'd hear. Ford, F-150, diesel.
No, I knew that was coming.
Mm-hmm. But here it is.
I am just not even concerned about anything Ford.
3.0-liter V6 Power Stroke, bolted to a 10-speed automatic.
Wow.
Yep.
It will cost you $2,400 to $4,000 more than a comparable gasoline engine.
Really?
Yeah, diesels usually do.
Well,
I mean,
right now in the Super Duty,
right.
there is a $8,600 or $8,700 upcharge for the diesel.
Now, see, that's when he read that number, I thought it would actually be more.
No, should be less because they're not nearly as heavy duty. Based on the number of trucks Ford sold last year, they think the take rate's going to be about 5%. That's roughly 44,000 trucks. Well, that's almost 45,000 trucks they expect to sell
Wow.
based on 2017 volume. Here's the weird part. Bear in mind, Ford in 2015 went to aluminum, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay, now this aluminum truck with a 10-speed automatic and a diesel is only going to get 30. Ram had already did that with their with their 3-liter 6 V6 diesel.
Yep.
And they didn't go to aluminum. And they were at 29.
Yep.
I'll let that settle. And they didn't need a 10-speed automatic to do it, by the way.
No, they did not.
They did it with an 8-speed. That's Ford. We talked about this. We'll talk about it again. The Ranger is back. They're building it in Michigan.
Okay, we talked about that before.
Yep. A year ahead of its arrival, they're teasing it now. It's going to be built in America. And this is back since they killed it in 2011. In 2011, it was built in Minneapolis. Yeah.
I did not know that.
The Twin Cities plant, which they tore down. Plant doesn't exist anymore. They tore it down shortly after they closed it.
Wow.
And weird part, it was in a residential section, a nice residential section of town between Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Really? I had no idea.
I've got pictures of one of the remaining signs where that plant was.
Wow.
Very nice.
Because ironically, I was up there in 2014 at a Toyota event. And happened to go down a road and found the plant I've been looking for years.
Mm-hmm.
And it just closed.
Oh, okay.
They were just in the process of tearing it down.
And the other thing, too, is I've seen the pictures of the new Ranger.
I like it.
And I got to say, I like it.
I'm not a Ford girl, but I actually like it.
Well, let me continue. To give you an idea of the midsize truck market,
Right.
last year, GM sold 145,000 Colorado and Canyon trucks.
Yeah.
Toyota, who's the market leader with the Tacoma, 198,000 Tacomas last year.
And here's the thing that I would like to know.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that mid-sized pickup truck is going to really appeal to women.
Yeah.
Actually, could appeal to not just women, but folks who didn't want the full-size pickup truck but want the capability. It's going to appeal to a lot more than that because a lot of people don't want the full-size pickup truck but want the utility. And that's what's driving it, actually.
And to me, like I said, I've always been a big truck guy.
See, and that's me. And it's kind of funny that you say that because when you go to the Dodge Ram, back when there was the Dodge Ram and the Dodge Dakota, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the running joke where I'm from, is that, the Dodge Ram was for the Mr. and the Dodge Dakota was for the Mrs.
Yeah, not so much anymore. Let me throw this at you. Lincoln is coming out with a replacement for the MKX. They call it Nautilus. Brand spanking new.
They're going to get back into the pickup market.
No. This is an SUV.
Oh.
The
okay.
MKX is the same, used to be the same chassis that the Explorer was riding on.
Right.
I'm sorry, the Edge, not the Explorer. I got confused. They replaced it with this.
Okay.
So they're going upscale. Lincoln's whole thing is not just the vehicle, but the entire experience. So they've got concierge services to go with it. Yeah, to go with this. That's their big thing. Is luxury is service as luxury in addition to the vehicle itself.
So they're going basically to the Cadillac model.
Actually, they're trying to go to the Lexus model. They're just going all the way in.
Okay.
Try this one on for size. Ultra comfort front seats, 22-way power adjustability.
22 ways to adjust the front seat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And if you've seen a picture of it, it doesn't flow right. Like the front end just looks
I don't know. I kind of like the way it looks. We'll see when we see them in person. Chances are I'll see them in Chicago.
Probably.
I'll have pictures.
And by the way, when are you going to Chicago?
I am going in Chicago first week of February, Media Days, as usual. My 21st or 22nd year of actually attending it. Have not missed in all those years. McCormick South forever.
Yep.
And I'll be there. So, next thing. 2018 Jeep Wrangler. Brand new Wrangler.
Okay.
The Wrangler and the Ram 1500 are all new for 2019. These are the ones that they got to get right. I'm sorry. Wrangler's 2018, Ram's 2019. Just so we keep that right. Industry pundits said Fiat Chrysler had to get both these right because this is what prints money for them.
Well, and they're right.
And bear in mind, and we mentioned this last segment, about how the Ram being built in Sterling Heights, which used to build the Chrysler 200, and that Warren Truck will now build a heavy-duty version of the Ram.
Mm-hmm.
So they spent a lot of money to get this one right. And people are just going crazy over it. But here's a couple things you need to know. They're using a lot of aluminum, and shock, there's going to be a diesel engine.
In the Ram?
Well, of course in the Ram, but in the Wrangler.
Yeah. That's what I was like, well, there's already a diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. Things to know. The Wrangler is rated for 30 inches of water fording and a 3,500-pound towing capacity. Yeah. And they're going to use a new, the 3-liter Eco Diesel V6 and a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder join the Wrangler lineup. So they got that. We come back, we're going to still be talking trucks, and if we have time, a couple of our American exotics right here, and some closing thoughts. RoadWorthy Drive is heard exclusively on the RoadWorthy Drive Radio Network.
Go to RoadWorthyDrive.com to check out Ken's blog, listen to past shows, and the times when you can see the show on Facebook Live.
Now it's
YouTube Live, isn't it?
It is now YouTube Live.
Yeah.
For those that are watching
YouTube Live.
On YouTube Live,
we love you.
You can go to our Facebook page, the RoadWorthy Drive Facebook page, and we have pictures posted of these vehicles. Now, I want to kind of draw your attention to the Wrangler.
Why?
To me, I see the headlights. I'm rolling with that. I'm not quite rolling with the whole detached thing that they've got going on the sides. I'm just not.
You're not, huh?
I am not.
Who's got a picture of that I can see?
Hold on.
Should be right there on our Facebook page. Because we put them out there just for you.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you see what I'm talking about? Where the lights that are right next to the headlights and they're like detached. They're like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I see them. I just thought that was a piece of chrome.
Be nice.
I'm being nice.
Be nice.
Yeah. If you go to our Facebook page, sorry.
Mhm.
If you go to our Facebook page, I actually posted them there, and I didn't make a montage like I normally do. I actually loaded each picture separate, so that way you can, zoom in on it and really look at it. I voiced my opinion on the Ram before, and I will voice it again because I'm able to look at the Ram and the Chevy on the same screen, side by side. I think that they failed on that one.
You know what? And the thing is, the market's going to prove you wrong.
We'll see.
No needing to see. Ram's been kicking butt taking names, and it's the one thing they're not going to mess up. Plus, may I add that, and we'll talk about this in the next segment, but the Ram actually now has they're actually now mild hybrids, both engines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to give you a little extra power.
Well,
I'm looking at this Jeep thing. You guys will get over it.
Why is that his standard answer?
Right?
We'll get over everything.
Right.
But you will, though.
I will tell him the same thing I tell my wife.
Oh, my God.
Not sure I want to hear this.
It is impossible for me to get over myself.
Right?
I got nothing. I got nothing for you,
When
Jack.
you're saying that Ram is kicking butt and taking names, are you comparing that to another automaker? Like, are you comparing that to the numbers of Ford? Are you comparing that to
year-over-year sales and the fact that they are strong number 3? Bear in mind that for all the money that Chevrolet has spent, compared to other smaller Japanese makes, like Toyota, who makes a full-size truck, and Nissan, who makes a full-size truck, that's not to be lost, the fact that they're making several 100,000 trucks a year and making money on every single one they build.
Okay, but
not a problem, though.
Again, let me just, so I can understand this, and I'm telling you this as a Mopar chick, that I've always been the Ram forever and ever and always.
Until recently.
Until recently. And then
what's up with that?
No, because no. But anyway.
What's up with that?
Let me just point out that of the 3 makers, they are number 3.
If you're profitable, why does it matter? See, here's the thing. General Motors tried to be number 1 at all costs, nearly bankrupted the company. It's fine to be number 3 if you're making money.
Is it?
If you've got a product that people are attracted to, your dealers are making money, you're making money, what's the point?
How long are they going to be able to make money?
Well, that's a different thing for a different time that we'll talk about, because we've talked about that.
Yeah, we have.
But right now, with the market right now, Ram, half-tons, and Jeeps are what's making much bank for them right now.
And
Many
he's
much
right.
bank.
And he's right.
He's right.
May I underline 2 words,
Many
right
much.
now. And keep that thought in mind.
And that's going to be the problem.
It's going to
right now.
Because he can make all the money he wants to right now, but when you hit 2019, when Sergio leaves, and you got the next guy coming in going, oh crap!
Yep. In our biggest way.
We are 5 years behind everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay, 10.
Yeah, I was about to. I mean,
I was being conservative.
Yes, and I'm with you, and that's why I have all switched over now. I mean, I will admire a nice Ram, but if I was going to spend the money, I'm buying a Toyota.
Well, because I also believe you're going to have a little more stability. Because Toyota's going to be there.
You're talking corporate stability.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking
corporate so that we're
stability.
clear.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, I have always and forever loved Mopar.
Now, Kim, I got a question for you so I don't misstate this. I want to ask you a question. When Oldsmobile went away.
2004.
I know. I cried.
I know. So did I. I
cried a few years before when Plymouth went away. I'm sorry.
Well,
Plymouth.
there was another one. But anyway.
Plymouth.
When they got rid of it, did the value of the Oldsmobiles take a hit?
Not necessarily. Because remember, as part of the General Motors family, most of those vehicles rode on chassis that was shared with other General Motors divisions.
And they were still able to get the warranty work and all that stuff.
They say it's federal law. We've had this discussion, could never find it. But automakers are obliged to continue parts and service. First of all, legally, they do got to honor the warranties until they expire.
Mm-hmm.
So if you bought, let's say, a brand new 2004 Oldsmobile, and you had a 6-year warranty, or whatever they were back then,
Mm-hmm.
they had to honor that warranty up till the time,
Correct.
mileage or whatever.
Right.
So same thing now with Pontiac, Hummer, Saturn, etc.
Right.
See, Saturn and Pontiac, those were the two that I was just like,
Hummer, somebody.
no,
Well,
Saab,
well,
Suzuki,
I'm not feeling.
Isuzu,
Mm.
really, Daewoo.
no,
Just saying. All makes that have disappeared in the last 10 years. Wait a minute, Mercury.
no.
Come on, somebody.
Daewoo,
Crazy about a Mercury.
Hold
Yeah.
on.
Alan Jackson. Thank
Yep.
you.
Daewoo was still around when we bought Leanne's Avail
Uh,
because that engine was.
can I
Daewoo
break?
built it. You
can-
can rant.
No. I'm going to break this to you gently.
Oh God.
God.
Your Aveo is a Daewoo. The whole
Yeah,
car.
the whole car is.
Why? Now, why? Because when
Tell us
Daewoo
why, Ken.
went broke, GM bought the assets.
Okay.
So it's actually GM subsidiary now in South Korea.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think the Chevy Trax, the Buick Encore, where do you think those vehicles came from?
Daewoo.
Thank you. Enough said. 8 minutes 50 seconds.
850.
Hold it before you do that. She gave me this. I got to chew, and if
Oh,
I don't
boy.
do it, it's gonna be a problem.
Okay, no chewing in the microphone.
Oh wow! Can't drop the microphone. Can't chew in the microphone.
No, we're not. No, thank you.
Mm.
We're not dropping microphones. I am
Oh,
not.
we
No,
know.
they're secured. Yeah, no.
No, we
fake.
got that.
No, we got that. That's why we got the water bottle.
Mhm.
Oh, there you go.
See, I am not only the social media diva, I am also the snack diva. So.
Oh, by the way,
Hmm.
saw a video this week
Mm-hmm. Of?
of a guy at one of these national conventions.
Oh no.
Okay,
What was the national convention of?
I don't know
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
because I basically saw the last 30 seconds of his talk,
Okay.
and of course, what did he do?
Mic drop.
Stuck his hand out, mic drop.
Oh my God.
What makes this more interesting is all of a sudden you see this blur come running across the stage.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
And this guy, the sound guy, literally punched him.
Oh no, he did not.
He did. Every sound engineer probably would have made his bail after that.
Okay, no, you got this right. I was just checking.
That's from 2017.
Yeah.
I didn't post that just now.
Okay. Well, it came up. That's why I was asking. It came up. All right.
We ready?
Go to post.
Mm. Well,
I know, right? If you want to look at posts and you actually click on posts, that's kind of crazy.
and that's why she's the social diva.
Exactly.
Thank you. 8 minutes, 50 seconds. Last.
And the reason why I'm the executive producer, she can't run this.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a little bit. Give me a little bit.
No.
Jack of all trades.
It's called and master of none. That's the whole.
Wow.
That's the whole saying. 8 minutes, 50 seconds,
8:50.
people.
Here we
Let's
go.
do it. This is the fourth and final segment of this hour of RoadWorthy Drive. I'm Ken Chester. Before we continue, a programming note. Next time, we will cover the foreign automakers, what they introduced during these same 3 auto shows. You're not going to want to miss this. The irony is that while Detroit seems to have doubled down with full-size pickups and SUVs, the foreign automakers have chosen several different paths to win the hearts and pocketbooks of the American motorist. In fact, they still like cars.
Yep.
Be sure to tune in for that. Now, we're still talking about trucks, and we left off, we were talking about the 2018 all-new Jeep Wrangler. Now, we didn't talk about the pickup that's coming. We don't have information on that. I don't believe they showed that to show. We started to talk a little bit about the 2019 Dodge Ram.
Looks
I'm
like
sorry,
a
I
Chevy.
keep calling it Dodge
like-
Ram. It's Ram because I don't want to get any, hate email.
No, it's Chevy.
Stop it.
It's a Revy.
Nah, stop it.
It
Remy.
looks like a Chevy.
Revy. Revy. That's what we'll call it.
No,
It's a Revy.
No, let it
The
be.
2019
no,
Revy.
No.
1500.
Let it be. Let it be. There's some. Obviously, there's some haters in the crowd.
Okay, stop. We are not haters. We have strong opinions.
Yes.
Haters, it's okay. It's okay. When they outsell everything,
They won't.
You will find.
The Crevy
it-
will not.
Will you stop it? Stop
Revy.
it. Okay.
It's going to be a thing.
Jeep Cherokee. New got freshened, new front, daytime running lights, headlights, cool stuff. New operating software to improve performance. Made it to a 9-speed automatic, which it always been. So little thing there. Also new for the Cherokee this year. Optional hands-free automatic opening feature activated with a foot wave beneath the bumper. Where have you heard that before?
That would have been the Ford. Now Chevy's got it. Now,
And it would have
they've
been
got
the Ford Escape.
Yep.
Got it first.
Yep.
There's a word for that. Supplier. You get one supplier that has this technology, and you see different automakers roll out with it over a few model years together.
Yep.
So not surprising. But yeah, now the thing is with this new Cherokee, engine stop-start technology to optimize fuel economy and minimize greenhouse gas emissions. They estimate that 30% of a vehicle's time is spent at idle. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these start-stop things going on.
See, and that's always freaked me out.
I don't like. They've got some makes have actually gotten smoother with it, and in some vehicles you can override it. But I got a feeling the day is coming where that's not going to be possible.
By the way, can we talk about the '80s Cadillac that had the
V864? Let's not.
Yeah, because
That caught fire.
my brother had one of those.
Mhm.
Oh, no.
Not pretty.
It
Not
wasn't pretty.
No.
Mhm. Okay, here we go.
All right.
2019 Chevy Silverado. First new half-ton Chevy Silverado in 10 years. Six
Now, wait a
engine.
minute. Hold on.
Yes,
Hold
sir.
on. What did they do in 14 and 15?
It was a freshening. This is brand new chassis, everything
Oh,
really
wow.
from the ground up.
No, I did not know
It
that.
is
Didn't know
it
that
is
either.
450 pounds lighter.
Oh.
And here's something you should think about. Now, remember, I told you a while back that Chevy eventually was going to have to come to grips. They were all laughing at Ford. Oh, Ford aluminum cargo bed. Oh, I said, don't laugh too hard, Chevy. You're going to have to do the same thing. Here's what Chevy did.
They took the
Roof.
truck body.
Roof for your doors, your trunk lid, tailgate, aluminum.
Yep.
Cargo bed,
Box.
high-strength steel, and they widened it. It's a wider cargo bed.
And how much wider is it?
I want to say 3 inches, but it's wider for more functionality. I'm getting hate looks over here. I will say this. 6 different engines.
Do you
8
have a picture
different
of that, by the way?
Yeah. It's on
6
our
different-
Facebook.
Yes, it is.
Well, I don't have access to Facebook in front of me.
6
Oh.
different engines, 8 different trim levels. Now, here's the thing. What differentiates, you got to be ready for this. What differentiates those 8 trim levels? Chrome.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Chevy's boiled it down to 3 different types of buyers. High value, high volume, high feature. A little bit of something for everybody.
And see, and I would be more of the feature guy.
Mm-hmm. May I add that Chevy is also introducing a Duramax diesel to their half-ton.
That's not surprising.
Do you see a trend here?
Yeah, everything.
But even though diesels had gotten a bad name, even though Ram had a problem with their Italian-built diesel, it didn't stop Ford, it didn't stop Chevy from going that direction to get better fuel economy because they're not going to get it all in weight alone. The Ford half-ton was lightened by 700 pounds. The Dodge was about 290. I'm sorry, the Ram was about 295. The Chevy's 450, lighter.
Tell me something. Does that look like my 17 Ford sitting outside?
No.
Just
No.
There's a little bit. There's a little bit there.
A little
yeah.
bit.
I'm waiting for Ken to actually come back with some pictures of that because that particular picture that they put out there,
Yeah.
it blends too much with the background.
It
and
does.
you're not able to see like the actual angles.
I will also add Chevy's putting out a work truck as well, a regular cab. And unlike Ram, who doesn't have a regular cab anymore.
Well,
but Chevy does.
Yes, they do. In their chassis, they do. In their chassis, right now, I can go to the local.
But you won't
Ram
for 29.
dealer.
Yeah, but you're talking heavy duty.
I'm talking.
I'm talking half ton.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. They don't have any.
That's
and
where
I
I'm
don't
going.
even think they have what I would call a super cab either.
They do. They have a quad cab and a crew cab.
Really?
Really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's change gears with the little bit of time I've got left. We talked about both of these companies. Both of these companies have a couple of things in common. We've heard us talk about the Aria FXE, that's ARIA, and the Genovation GXE. They're both based on Corvettes, and they're both electric.
Okay, this is going to get back to where we pinned before about
Mm-hmm.
the horsepower and the
210.
speed.
Mm-hmm. The Aria FXE, they did a lot of custom work for other automakers and prototype work. They are using a 6.2-liter supercharged V8 engine based on the GM LT4 engine used in the Corvette Z06, plus 2 axial flux induction electric motors in the front with a 10 kilowatt-hour battery pack. The output, 1,150 horsepower.
What?
Top speed, bear in mind, remember I said put a pin in it? Top speed, 220 miles an hour. It's 10 miles an hour faster than the new ZR1 Corvette.
Wow.
It's crazy.
With Genovation, again, electric and trying to go sustainable, their speed, 220 miles an hour. Again, this is all electric. Well, that comes to the end of the tour. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll be talking about the foreign automakers, what they brought to the shows. On behalf of the RoadWorthy Drive team, thanks for listening. This has been RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester is a copyrighted presentation of the RoadWorthy Drive Radio Network. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or any other use is prohibited without the written consent of the Motor News Media Corporation.
Before we part, that Genovation, we talked about the area and the Genovation.
Right.
Genovation's a small group of Maryland folks trying to put out a vehicle. Their electric Corvette, the GXE, will produce 800 horsepower and 700 foot-pounds of torque. Both the Genovation and the Aria FXE are 10 miles an hour faster than the new Corvette ZR1.
Wow.
Did I mention electric?
Yep, you did.
All right. Well, that kind of wraps it up for this hour. You're going to want to tune in. If you can wait a few minutes, we'll get into the second hour. We'll talk about the foreign automakers, and we've got some really exciting stuff. That's when you find out when I have my Jack moment, and I'm definitely going to have a Jack moment in the next hour. On behalf of Jack, Sasha, and myself, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.